Alright, so this video is on recording people. Yeah, I recorded a lot of people. A lot of people for a lot of reasons. The number one reason for doing so, the thing that all of these people have in common, is that they knew that I was telling the truth. And they just never came forward about it. With Miss Peaches, the messages between her and I show that I was telling the truth. Things that she had to say show I was telling the truth. Same thing with Rihanna. Same thing with all of these people. Now there are some of those people who knew that they were being recorded. And when they knew they were being recorded, they had something entirely different to say. Like when me and Miss Peaches were having our conversations and she didn't know that she was being recorded, she spoke about the situations that she was there for. Now there's a video called Miss Peaches' Statement. That's one where she knew she was being recorded, and she was talking about shit that she wasn't there for. That's not what I needed from her. I needed her to be honest. If she wasn't there, how does she know if it's true or not? All of the people that I recorded were witnesses who should have come forward. Yes, even Lori Dale. A lot of people were pissed off that they were recorded. Well, you know what? That wouldn't have been recorded and put out in public if they'd have kept their word to begin with. If they'd have kept their word to begin with, that would have been taken care of in court. I am willing to commit felonies to keep my loved ones safe. But not just my loved ones. There's a lot of people I don't fucking know. If your life is in danger, you're goddamn right I'm gonna do something about it. I don't care if it gets me hated. If my life is in danger and you're not even willing to come forward with the truth, there is something severely wrong with you. Of course, most of these people are never going to end up in a situation like this. None of the women I know will. See, here's the thing. Even if a woman has somebody lie and say that they did things like that, well, they're women. They get treated differently. They get leniency. When a male teacher has sex with a female student, we talk about what a terrible person he is. And we tell his victim, we're sorry that happened. We're going to get that son of a bitch. But then when it's a female teacher who has sex with a male student, she gets a slap on the fucking wrist. Like that lady who had sex with Donnie Sparks. That's Miss Jerry's son. The lady who had sex with him got a slap on the wrist. And what do we tell boys in that situation? A bunch of sick shit. That boy is a victim. Whether it was consensual or not, he's not old enough to give consent. And we tell him, oh, well, dude, you shouldn't complain, you got laid. Good on you, dude, you had sex with a teacher, right on, let me give you a high five. It's fucking gross. We live in a gross world where the rules are different depending on the color of your skin. depending on how broke you are, depending on your gender. But really, it all comes down to poverty and looks. Your rights in the United States of America depend on having people on your side and having money. A lot of people that didn't know what the fuck was going on just hated me over slander. And there are people who knew that it was slander who said nothing. Absolutely nothing. They didn't write a report. They didn't come out. They didn't tell the truth when it made a difference. When they procrastinated, well, that's when I recorded them. Every single person that I recorded is a witness to the things that I went through. There's a video on my YouTube called Ray Ray. And that's me and Rayanna Ingersoll talking about the situation. The situation that I had already explained. I'd explained it. Now, through all of this, the tactics that were used were to prevent me from talking to these people. Like having a protection order with Ray Ray. Ray Ray thinks that's bullshit too. But that protection order wasn't to protect Ray Ray. It was to protect the Rawlins Police Department and their wrongdoing. It was to protect David McCarthy and his wrongdoing. It was to protect the hospital there in Rawlins and their wrongdoing. See, we're not talking about some crazy dude who just wants to blame everything on everybody else. We're talking about a broken fucking system. A system that allows the rich to get away with fucking your children. But a poor man can't even get an honest goddamn day in court. I'm an asshole. Not only am I an asshole, I'm fucking proud of it. You put my loved ones at risk, you goddamn right I'm going to speak out and I'm going to do it publicly. If I love you and you put my loved ones at risk, I am still going to fucking speak out. If your children's safety is at risk, and I barely know your children, but I've known you for 20 years. Your children mean more to me than you do. Even if I've never met them, they mean more to me than you do because they are fucking children. These predators are fucking children. They are having sex with children. They are beating on children and forcing drugs into children. And this doesn't stop when you become an adult. You goddamn right I speak out. You goddamn right I recorded people. Oh, Sean, you're a terrible person for recording these people. No, I'm not. The only way to bring about change is to show what the fuck is going on. To shove it in your face what is going on. You want to say, oh no, my uncle's the greatest uncle in the world. He'd never do a thing like that. Well, how about I try to show you the evidence that your uncle was raping children? And you say, no, I'm not going to look at that. I already know my uncle better than that. You're fucking lying and slandering, bitch. Here's what should be done. You should be strapped to a fucking chair and forced to look at the evidence. Forced to look at it. I believe that Alicia Bollinger should be strapped to a chair and forced to look at all of the things that people did to me because she didn't want to come forward and tell the truth. Am I willing to strap her to a chair? Fuck no. I've been strapped to a chair. I didn't fucking like it. I also slipped out of that chair. That was in the Boulder County Jail. Fuck the Boulder County Jail. Fuck every police officer in America. Because see, here's the thing. Let's say you got 10 police officers that work for a little department. 8 of them are pretty decent folks. 2 of them are corrupt as fuck. And 1 of those corrupt motherfuckers is the sheriff. Them other 8 are gonna protect that sheriff. They're gonna protect the one dude on that force who is crooked. And that makes them all crooked. All of them. Doing the right thing has nothing to do with money. Nothing at all to do with money. If you choose money over doing the right thing, then you are doing the wrong thing. You say, oh, well, I need that job. I need that job so I can feed myself and keep a roof over my head. And some of these crooked-ass officers, yeah, many of them have children and wives. I need that job. I need that money so that I can feed my children and feed my wife. So I can have nice things, so I can have my vehicle. Yes, but at what expense? How many innocent people have to fucking die so that you can feed your family? Maybe it's time for you to get another fucking job. I mean, right now, nobody wants to be a fucking cop. The ones that do are bullies. I mean, back in the 90s, for one police position in Washington State, one position, thousands of people applied, and they got to pick their pick of the litter. Now, when they have 20 positions opening, they get 1 or 2 applicants. And that 1 or 2 applicants are probably not mentally stable enough for the job that they're applying for. Well, that's fucking crazy. The laws have gotten to the point where the protection of money is the only thing that matters. And it's not the protection of these officers' money. These officers do wrong things because they want that money, yes. But at the same time, the money that they are protecting belongs to the government, belongs to the rich. It's the money that they stole from you, the taxpayers. And I say stole from you because it's not getting spent on what they're supposed to spend it on. It's not getting spent on what they said that they're going to spend it on. You guys have all sorts of issues with helping to get somebody into housing so that they don't have to go through all of this victimization. Having their money taken because they're homeless out in the cold and using a blanket. And you don't want your taxpayer dollars going to help them. So you spend a gross amount of tax money to incarcerate them for being homeless, for being victimized. And then you think that they just need to go have somebody to talk to. So you pay therapists your taxpayer dollars for that therapist to not do anything. Meanwhile, this person has to come up with the money to go see that therapist. Has to come up with a ride to go see that therapist. Yeah, there are a lot of people that I recorded, but they're people who aren't going through it, and most of them will never have to. There's a lot of people that I know that, as homeless people, They complained about the same things I do. But then when they got unhomeless, they hate the homeless more than anybody. They make the same excuses that hurt them so badly. Homeless people are this, homeless people are that. One of the women who was defending me after Natalie died, me and her got into quite a few arguments. She wanted to say that all the homeless people out there are on drugs. Like, hey, that just shows me what crowd you hung out with. Megan Christie, she's the lady that I was going to buy the house from before Natalie died. Megan Christie couldn't stay off the methamphetamines. Brock Byington couldn't stay off of the methamphetamines. Hello, Rick.
Hello.
And that's the problem that we have here. I mean, right here, I'm in Chapel, Nebraska. This place is known in Denver for its meth. It's manufactured here in Dual County. What are the police doing about it? They're not doing anything. By the way, that was Candace Bondurant's stepdad, Rick. He's not a bad person. Lori is not a bad person. I'm not talking about the Lori that I recorded yesterday. I'm talking about Lori Dale. And Candace isn't really a bad person. What they did was bad. The fact that they wouldn't admit it is what makes you a terrible person. Lori doesn't need to admit the things that Candace did. Candace does. Lori is just defending her daughter, in her own mind anyway, because she believes that defending her family is the right thing to do. Well, yeah. But not if they're wrong. Don't tell me what's in the Bible, I've read it. If your hand sins, you're supposed to cut it off. If your child does the things that Candace does, according to the Bible, Lori should disown her. Then again, if you refuse to look at the evidence, then it doesn't matter. And that was the point I made earlier. I would love to record Candace Bondurant. I would love the hell out of that. Of course, the closest I could was to record Lori Dale. And you know what? The things that she had to say go right along with what I was telling y'all to begin with. So recording Lori was not a terrible thing. It wasn't completely useless. Now, let's get to Jackie McKenzie. When that woman had sex with her cousin, who was underage, what happened? Well, I'll tell you what happened. Jackie McKenzie turned her ass in. Or Jackie Payne Ballou, I guess is her name now. Jackie did the right thing. She turned in a child molester and a child rapist, and that woman was the predator. That woman who had sex with Donnie, that was statutory rape. The same thing that Tim Beeson is guilty of. Of course, Jackie Payne Ballou was younger and prettier at the time. Jackie has gotten older. She's gotten a lot skinnier. That's what years of meth use will do to you. Just because Jackie's on meth, does that make her a bad person? No, it doesn't. But it makes her do bad things out of desperation. She doesn't want everybody to know that she's on meth, now does she? She doesn't want to be judged like that. When it all comes down to it, if you're a child molester, Jackie's going to turn your ass in. So I still have a lot of respect for Jackie. If Jackie came to me today and said, hey, this man or this woman is molesting so-and-so, yeah, I'd do something about it. I definitely would. I don't think Jackie Payne Belew is a terrible person. I think she jumped in on a situation that really she shouldn't have been involved in to begin with. But once she was involved, it was too late to turn back. As far as what Jamie Curtis had to say about what James supposedly did to Jackie, she knew it wasn't true when she said it, so she should have never said it, because that'll mark a man for life. I'm not sure if y'all have noticed, but in the last 2 years, I have been speaking out about that in specific. Matter of fact, longer than 2 years, but in specific, the James situation for 2 years. When Jamie told me in January of 2018 that James was not a rapist, yeah, I've been defending him on that count ever since. James is not a rapist. And the way that I treated him, and the way that I thought of him, because Jamie said that, he didn't deserve. If he's not a rapist, you shouldn't have said that to begin with. But also, Jamie, your son means a lot more to me than you do.